This time I'm digging into a book that seems to be on everybody's book club list. I really needed a book version of a palate cleanser. I ultimately think the story was very cute. Personally, did not like the ending. Because I had dug into the last book series that I ranted and raved about in my first little edition of this series of mine. And I was like, I can't do anything else deep. I need something fluffy, but not fluffy, because I didn't want romance. I'm like, I'm still recovering from the romance that I witnessed. So let's not do that. Let's do something else. The way that the book was described to me was that it was cute, and I kind of didn't like that. But at the same time, having read the book, I too would call it cute. It's the best little description for it. It's heartwarming. It has some humor involved in it. And there's some family dynamics in it that thankfully, nothing like the ones in the last book series that I read, but also not that perfect family thing that I've never witnessed before in my life and wouldn't want to read about, because that's a fantasy. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. If you didn't already know, one of the major reasons why this book is on everybody's to-be-read list right now is because there is a movie coming out for it. I don't think anytime soon, depending on how fast they actually produce it. I believe it's being made by Netflix Studios, and they started filming, I think, in March. So hopefully the adaptation is great. I have seen so many different Netflix originals that I thought were amazing. Okay? Like, amazing. Like, don't get me started on League of Legends Arcane. The things it did to me, but we're not, no. We'll rant and rave about TV series and movies at some other point, but I can't do it. And I need to read those books, because there's books to that. Did you know? Okay, anyway. Point being, this book is suddenly very popular, even though it came out a while ago, because of the fact that there is a live adaptation coming for it. So if you're the kind of person who has to read the book before you watch the movie or the series or whatever, you should probably do that. It has three perspectives. The first perspective is from a young man who seems to be like early to mid 20s. He is, to say the least, down on his luck. Cameron is a loser, okay? Cameron's life is not going the way he wants it to, all right? His mom is up and gone, abandoned him to his aunt when he was, like, not even a teenager, if I remember correctly. And he doesn't know who his dad is, never did. He works construction. He's had a bunch of odd-end jobs, hasn't been able to keep anything stable, and he has a girlfriend who has been putting up with his nonsense for quite a while. And she's gotten a little sick of that. She's gotten sick of the fact that he's hiding from her his latest job loss. She gave him the opportunity to be honest with her. He didn't do that. Well, okay, done with it. You got to get out. Now, he's on a journey of discovery, to be quite frank. He realizes there's nothing for him where he is. He's come across a photo of his mom with a man in an area of, I think it's Washington State, and he's like, that's him. That's got to be my deadbeat dad. He seems rich. Look at the stuff he's got on him. I'm gonna, find him and make him pay for all the years that he's missed. So he's He's out to like commit blackmail essentially so he can get paid, because what else does he have as an option? Then you've got perspective number 2. It's an old, sweet Swedish woman, by the name of Tova. Tova is a widower. She also lost her son. Think they said it was like 30 years ago. I don't remember how old he was. Seemed like he was probably fresh out of high school, if I remember right. And she doesn't believe that he committed suicide, as was what they deemed it, right? She thinks something else had to have happened. There has to be an explanation. That's not my son. That's not something he would have done. I would have known. In the back of my head, I think of all those like serial killer moms who's like, my son would never. You don't know your kids as well as you think you do. Some people do. Anyway, she's going through a change in circumstances. She's reaching that age where she's not going to be able to be independent anymore. She loses her brother, who she was estranged from anyway, which again sounds like the kind of family I'm used to. Estrangements and siblings and whatnot, just through the generations. It's great, right? So she gets word that her brother has died. He's living in a retirement home. She goes there, and as retirement home people are wont to do, they're trying to sell you on the retirement home. Ooh, come here. It's amazing. Ooh, come here. We have all these amenities and great things, and your insurance will cover it, and we'll keep you here forever until you die, because we want to get as much. Get your butthole out of my face. Do you see what I have to deal with? Like, thank you. Oh my God. So they're trying to sell her on a package where, maybe she has 5 years to live, 10 years to live. Who knows? I don't remember how old she was. All I know is that she finally had the accident, the incident that made her realize, ooh, I'm getting old and I don't have a way to care for myself, and my only next of kin are all dead. I don't know why I'm doing this accent, because Tova is Swedish and I don't feel like attempting a Swedish accent right now, because I'm sure I'll butcher it. So let's not, all right? But point being, Tova is in this, what's the word I'm looking for? Interim phase. She's in this interim phase where she's trying to figure out, what am I going to do with my life, right? She's living in a house that I can't remember if it was her father or her grandfather literally built with his bare hands when they immigrated to the United States. She lives in Washington State. She has this gorgeous handcrafted wood house, or house with wooden elements that are whatever. The whole house was built by him. That's the point that I remember. And she's thinking of selling the house, moving to a retirement home, and, giving up her job. Her job of which is at an aquarium where she is not the caretaker of Marcellus, but she interacts with Marcellus the octopus. The third point of view is Marcellus himself, the dry-humored octopus who is observing the people in the aquarium and laughing at them because they're morons, moronical idiots, uncultured, uncouth swine, no education, silly things in there that I thought was pretty comical. Now, in the process of Cameron trying to hunt down his dad, he ends up in the same state as Tova, which apparently was where his mom grew up and went to school. He didn't know this at the time, but he found out through all his digging and searching and finding of self and family, right? So he ends up in the same state, but part of it was like a horribly planned out thing. Everything was going wrong. He wasn't supposed to stay in that area long enough to have interacted with any of these people. He took a flight, his suitcase got lost, got sent to a whole other country, so he has no belongings. He has no means of being able to get anywhere. He just has his communications with his aunt of which ends up wiring him money that she's supposed to use for a trip. So he's got guilt behind all that. Like, no, I can't use her money. I gotta pay her back. She's always been there for me. She's like my mom because my mom abandoned me because my mom had a drug problem. Anyway, she wires him money. He meets some person while in the airport dealing with his loss of personal belongings and luggage. Keep in mind, he had some things in the luggage that probably would have helped him financially had it not ended up in another country. So this guy gets him set up with someone who's selling a rundown RV, like van, like one you can drive. I say that because I'm in an RV. Does not have the capability of being driven. So I felt like the distinction was necessary. Anyway, he ends up with this rundown RV, so he's using that for transportation and living. And as he's driving through, then he springs a flat tire or something happened with the tire or something. I can't remember what happened with the car. All I know is he broke down in a particular podunk. I don't want to say podunk, but that feels about right. Some small town where everybody knows everybody and everybody knows what's going on with everybody else, and they're just gossiping little people, right? So everybody knows he's there before he's even really met anyone. And then, eventually things come out and they find out who his mom is, and that's like way towards the end. But regardless, he has to figure out how to make money to pay for the services on his van. I just realized my sweater was inside out and it was bothering me. Hello, friend. Welcome to the neighborhood. No, I'm kidding. I feel like I should be putting my shoes on and tying my... Shut up. Anyway. Where was I? Do you remember? Because I don't remember. Get down. Hey. Down. Good boy. So in the process of him trying to figure out a means for financial stability while he's stuck in this area, getting the repairs on his car, he makes a friend with a man who has a little bit of a thing for Miss Tova. He hasn't met Tova, but the guy also knows the owner of the aquarium, and he gets him a job where he basically takes over Tova's job while she's out dealing with her injury, right? And questioning her life and everything else that, is coming with age and infirmment. Is that the right word? When you're aged and infirmant? Oh, it's probably not right. Whatever. Point is, she's aging. She's making choices. Things are happening. In that process, he ends up being the interim cleaner because Miss Tova, lovely, sweet, kind-hearted, patient Swedish woman, is the cleaner of the aquarium. Now, she has caught Senor Marcellus on multiple occasions trying to escape his tank. So she's developed this little repertoire. No? Repartee? Rapport. Ah, yes. That other R word. Jesus. She's developed a rapport with this intelligent Pacific octopus. And she that's how she ends up getting injured, is helping this octopus. So in the process of that, Cameron starts working there. Eventually, she's unable to keep herself away from her job. She's not supposed to be working but she misses Marcellus. She misses doing something. So she ends up going, and eventually her and Cameron cross paths, and they develop their own rapport. And it almost feels like, she's filling this empty hole, but at the same time, she's still going through the grief and the lack of acceptance of what happened to her son. There's a lot of things unanswered, and it just becomes a little bit of a mystery. Meanwhile, Cameron is getting a budding love interest, right? And not at all what he would have expected for himself. And I think it's one of those things that kind of forces him to be like, well, you need to grow up. If you're expecting anything serious, you need to grow up, because this person is not going to waste their time with you. Okay. Trying to leave some of the spoilers out without giving everything away. Now, personally, as someone with a very complicated family dynamic, it's a mishmash of a bunch of kids from previous marriages, and then I'm the only one from my mother and father, and we're not going to get into the weeds of all that, but the point is, I don't have close relationships with all of my siblings. We have an extent, but I think all of us are very much out of sight, out of mind. But also there's that aspect of the fact that I am the youngest out of everyone. I grew up in a completely different state than everyone else. And I'm the reminder that my father cheated on their mother, kind of thing. Fun, fun family dynamic. So I get it. So I liked that aspect, that it wasn't some perfect cookie cutter fantasy family dynamic that I would not have been able to connect with in any way, shape, or form. I enjoyed that there was humor and sensitivity from the octopus of all things. Personally, did not like the ending at all. Okay? And I'm not saying it was bad. Other people were like, oh my God, it was so cute. How did you like it? I cried. I was so happy. No. Nope. There were some, let's say, contingency errors that I did not perhaps get. And I think it's because I listened to it through, this one I think was through Hoopla. So it was an audio book, and I didn't have the physical book in front of me, so I couldn't just thumb through and reference. You have to zoom over the timeline and figure out where on earth it was, what chapter, what time. Nope, not going back. That's too much work. I'd have to listen to the whole book all over again. But it could be that my memory was bad, or that in certain aspects of the chapters, the writing was saying, oh, there's this age and then this age, and it just didn't feel like the math wasn't mathing. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. And then the other issue is that as a person with the family dynamic that I've already explained to a degree, I don't have that generational family wealth or things like that. And the ending strips away that aspect. And I hated that to my absolute core. I was fully hoping that there was going to be a different decision that would lead to a different ending. And I think that a good portion of it was because maybe it was like cathartic for the writer. I think I remember someone mentioning, or me reading somewhere, that the author had gone through something of a similar nature. So it's like, okay, fine. But in my mind, if I was the writer, I'm writing the things that I didn't get, the things that I want the inner child in me to have received through this, because I can't get it myself. You know how there's like people out there who are going to Chat GPT and they're like, oh, write me an apology based from the perspective of my ex, covering this, that, and the third thing. And then they read it and they know damn well they're never going to get that level of, I wouldn't even want to say genuine sorrow and grief and remorse. Remorse is the word I'm looking for, from that human being. You're not getting it from the computer either, but that's besides the point. The point is that it gives you that emotion, it evokes that in you, and then you're able to be like, okay, cool, so I can let that go. I can't forgive that human being, really, but I can let that go and try to move on with my life, right? So, like, I get it. Like, maybe that was them living through the experience, but that's not how I would have liked it to have happened. It just felt like a letdown, and it just made me sad for what could have been, for how everything ended up. I know that's very vague, but I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I gave you enough information already, right? Overall, very cute story. I did feel like there were some questionable timeline issues that to me didn't make sense. It did kind of keep you guessing, like, just when you're thinking, oh, maybe he's gonna find him, maybe this is gonna happen, whatever. Then it's like, oh, nope, another left turn. Oop, nope, another left turn. Because my brain picks up on patterns and loves to play the little super sleuth in books and movies and TV series and stuff like that, I had already established long before Marcellus certain things that were going on, and I was just like, can we get to it? Can we get to it? I like, it's there. Can we get to it already? So maybe for you, you'll also feel the same way, because it's going to be like a little, maybe. And then there's other things that you just never really get the answer to, and I don't know if the author has any intention of continuing on, like writing a second book, and if they did, I'd still be pissed off about how the way the first one ended. But again, that's mostly a me thing. Out of the multiple people I've talked to, they were all happy with it, and I was like, what? Like, that didn't bother you, that last part? Okay, just me then. Just me. I'm the problem, it's me. Whatever. So, yeah. Would I recommend it? Oh, of course, because it's cute. It's sweet. It has all those little bits and pieces. There were moments where I got like a little teary-eyed. Did I cry? No. Did my eyes dampen? Yes. Did I laugh? Yes. Did I roll my eyes? Yes. So, overall, I'd say it was a good read. I'm under the impression that if you're part of a book club or you enjoy reading, you've probably already been recommended this book. It was a lighthearted read, and it was very much a welcome reprieve after some of the dark stuff that I had been reading prior to that.